Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What's up and what's going on, traders? And happy Money Monday. How is everybody doing today? Hopefully, everybody's having a rock and roll freaking pre-market morning here on this beautiful Monday, guys. We got stocks absolutely on fire today, right? It's gonna be a hot day. It's gonna be a fun day. It's gonna be a hot week and a fun week, guys. We got a lot to discuss. We have a lot going on, and I'm really excited to be back. I'm excited to be here, and I'm ready to end the month of January strong and profitable. All right, keep adding to the bottom line because, again, team, we have so much opportunity in front of us to do so and then really bring this momentum into February and have an amazing February. So hit me with a big ol' good morning. Right now, inside of chat, you can't see me right now, all right? I just want to do an audio check. Got the PC back late last night, set it all up, having to continue to set it up this morning. I was missing some software after the restore and all that good stuff, but I want to make sure that you guys can hear me loud and clear. I know you can't hear me right now, or you can't see me right now, but here on YouTube, you guys can see me. So again, good morning on YouTube. We're getting ready to dive into it, get you guys prepared for today's trading session to make sure that you guys know exactly where the best of the best opportunity is. We're looking to lock in some killer profits in today's trading session. So again, we got 2 days left of January 2023, baby. It's been a rockin' January. We've been crushing it. Some big time profits inside of Profits Chat. We've been having some fun, and it's just been an amazing start to 2023, guys. And I want to continue that over the next couple of days, walk away strong and profitable, close out the month of January, and again, start the month of February even better than we did in January, guys. So who's with me? Who's ready to make it happen? And let's go ahead and start diving into it. We have just about 28 minutes until this market opens on up, and we have quite a bit to discuss. So here's where we're going to start this morning. Before we dive into our small cap pennies and really start breaking down our levels, the technicals, and where we can see some of these stocks go. Really want to set the stage, right? Give you guys a little bit of a foundation for this week. It's a huge week. It is a freaking big week in this market. Why? Right? You got mega cap earnings this week, guys. You have, when I looked at the Qs and the SPY, about 25% of the Qs reporting this week from a top 10 holding standpoint, right? 25% of the Qs are reporting this week. 15% of the S&P 500 when you look at the top 10 holdings. That's massive, right? You got AMD reporting Tuesday after the close. You got Meta Wednesday after the close. And then Thursday is a massive, massive day. You got Amazon, Apple, and Alphabet all reporting after the close. And those are just the big names. You still have a lot of other really big names reporting this week. You got stocks like McDonald's. You have stocks like Caterpillar, Pfizer, General Motors, UPS. You got Snapchat reporting this week, right? You have Lilly, Ford, Qualcomm, Starbucks. You got some big names. This is a big week for earnings, and we know exactly what that means for the market. Volatility, baby. Volatility. And then what else do we have this week that brings in even more volatility? We have the Fed's interest rate decision coming on up this week, guys. I think it's Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, that we have the Fed interest rate decision here on February 1st, which is going to be Wednesday. We have an FOMC press conference with Mr. Jay Powell scheduled this week as well. We have jobs data coming on out. Guys, this is a perfect cocktail and a perfect mixture for a big freaking week in this market. We're day traders. We thrive in volatile markets, and this is going to be one of the most volatile weeks of 2023. So if you guys have been waiting for those big time trades, waiting for those big market moves, waiting to lock in some killer profits, this could be your week. So you need to make sure you're here, you're focused, you're getting prepared, you're dialed in. Make sure you have a game plan in place on how you want to attack this market this week. Because like I said, if you're here, you have that game plan, you're dialed in and focused, this could be a massive week for you guys. And I'm looking for it to be a massive week for myself. There's a lot of great opportunity out here in this market, not just with these large cap stocks that we can get rocking and rolling with options on like we have been doing for quite some time, but even with these small caps, they're heating up. They are on fire. Look at GNS from $4 to $6 here in pre-market. Look at GMVD. This stock is up over 100%. at this point in time. Look at Lucid here on Friday. Lucid going from, again, around $9 to $17. They're on LCID. Over the takeover talks there on Friday. You got SoFi reporting some good earnings. SoFi is currently up from around $5.94 towards around $6.50. Not huge, but again, SoFi is a great stock that I like. A lot of other traders like this as well. And we're starting to get some great action with something like SOFI. Look at AEMD this morning off that cancer press release. The stock ran from around 47 cents all the way up towards around 89 cents, nearly a 100% move. Penny stocks, small caps, whatever you want to call it, these low float, cheap, volatile stocks that are absolutely ripping and running, they're on fire. We are seeing consistency. We are seeing just amazing market conditions. This is going to be an amazing week to wrap up your January, add to the bottom line, to have a successful January and close month 1 of 2023 strong and profitable. And then to start month 2 strong and profitable as well. This is a week for the books. Let's make sure it's a good week for the books. All right, team. So without any further ado, let's not waste any time. You guys know exactly what to expect for this week. Earnings and a lot of earnings reports with some of the biggest companies here within the SPY and the QQQ. We got Jay Powell on the mic. We got the Fed interest rate decision. We got jobs data coming on up. It's going to be a fun week, guys. Who's excited? If you can't tell, I'm freaking excited right now. Who else is excited at this point in time? Let me know inside the chat. Are you fired up? Are you excited? Are you ready to make this the best week of 2023? Are you like, whatever, Josh? We'll see if this is going to be a good week. We'll see if we're going to have some fun. Let me know inside the chat right now at this point in time. Are you excited like I'm excited? Are you fired up like I'm fired up? Are you ready to make it happen like I am ready to make it happen? Let's hear it from traders inside the chat right now at this point in time, right? Because I feel like I'm the only one that's all spicy right now. I'm the only one with a jalapeno in his butt. Woo! All fired up! Yeah! All right, what are you guys doing right now? Come on, let me know. Tracy, good morning. What's up? Steve's ready to make it happen. Hack, let's get it. Let's get it. All right. I'm surprised we don't have a lot more engagement, a lot more freaking energy here inside of this community. All right. I'm an energy giver. You guys are energy takers. That's fine. Take this energy, apply it. Let's get fired up. Let's make it happen. Bring the heat. All right. Let's go ahead and seriously dive into it. All right. If you just let me go, I'm going to keep going. You let me keep talking. I'm going to keep talking, guys. You know me. All right. What do we got going on for today? Let's discuss the SPY, right? And we're just going to keep this simple. You guys know the drill. You guys know exactly what to expect today. What are we going to expect today in this market, right? With earnings, big earnings right around the corner. Again, 15% of the SPY, 25%-ish of the QQQ, right? Earnings, FOMC meeting, FOMC Fed interest rate decision, right? Like, what do we expect the SPY to do? Be a little bit calmer, right? A little bit slower, not as volatile. Let some of these earnings reports come out. A little bit more volatility. Let the Fed interest rate decision and jobs data come out. Boom, more volatility. So leading up to that, expect a little bit more slowness, right? Just historically, right? That's what we see leading up to earnings and these big economic events. So do I still think there's potential for the SPY to move? Absolutely. We don't need a 10-point swing up or down to make killer profits. As long as we're positioned correctly, we can make killer profits and the SPY can move like $1 or $2. So here's what I'm looking at on the SPY. I'm personally looking for the SPY to get a rejection right around this like 403.20 resistance, right? Go back and take a look at Thursday session. You have some resistance here around that 403.20. Right around that 403.20, you have a lot of price action, a lot of volume. You have a lot of points being touched right around that 403.20. And then you see 403.20, great support Friday, great support Friday, great support Friday there in pre-market. So I want to keep the SPY on watch right around that 403.20 level. And it's just so happens to be right around Thursday's open as well. Now, we'll kind of readjust that level when the market opens. Resistance could be up into like Friday's low of day or Friday's open. That could put us around like 403.60 to like 404. But right now, we could clearly see 403.20 is a pretty solid level of prior resistance and support that could absolutely hold the SPY down at the start of the day as resistance. And I would like to see that because I would like to see the SPY top on out and pull back a little bit more. I'd like to see the SPY come back down around that $400 level here on the SPY, right? So at this point in time, I'm looking for the SPY to get that rejection right around 403.20, okay? And then start to pull back down towards around $400, right? That psychological level that was also tapped a lot over the last couple of weeks. That's where I believe the SPY could be coming back down to, right around $400 before we see it bounce on back up. All right. And if we ever crack below $400 on the SPY, we do have this trend line that we could be coming on down to here on the SPY, guys, right? We have this trend line that goes back a couple weeks from that Thursday and Friday connection. We validated it here on Wednesday beautifully. We are getting very, very close to this trend line here on the SPY. So if we do indeed come down to 400 today on the SPY, and let's say we can't bounce and we crack below 400, we have potential to fall down into this trend line, which puts us right around 398. But I do believe $400, that psychological level, is going to be very, very strong support at this point in time. So if we do indeed see the SPY pull back and drop here at the start of the day down towards around $400 and we start to bottom like we were bottoming on Thursday, I would love to jump into some call options for that push back up towards around that 403 level. And if we do open on up and we do top out at 403 at the start of the day, and we do see that's a valid level of resistance and we can't break above, I would love to take some put contracts on down the 400 and play this in both directions. Puts below 403.20 down to 400. As long as we hold $400, get rid of those puts, cover, take those profits, jump into calls for the bounce on back up here with the SPY. So do I think we're going to rip to 410 today? No. Do I think we're going to have a 10-point move like we called last Wednesday? We were like, hey, guys, if we hold this level, we're going to 400 and then 408. Like, do I think we're going to see those big-time moves today? I don't think so, but I do think we get nice $2.5 to $3 moves in either direction, which is all you need to lock in some killer profits here on the SPY. Again, if you're positioned correctly. Right. So at the SPY right now at this point in time, that's my analysis. That's what I think we can see. I don't think we're going to see a lot of volatility, big time moves, but I think we do have enough potential to lock in some great profits. And I do see some good opportunity today here with the SPY in between those two levels of support and resistance. Right. So we'll continue to watch the SPY at the start of the day below 403.20. Right. We're definitely taking puts down to 400, but you also need to be watching QQQ at this point in time. Why should you be watching QQQ, right? Well, last week, QQQ is leading in a sense, right? Because QQQ on Thursday topped out at its 200 SMA. And the SPY on Thursday wasn't even looking bearish, right? The SPY wasn't even sitting at a resistance level, right? But why did the SPY dump on down to 400? Well, because QQQ had a reason to drop on off because it could not break its 200-day moving average, right? We dumped on down, the SPY follows, and then all of these other stocks follow as well. QQQ breaks with strength above its 200 SMA there on Friday. What happens? The SPY follows beautifully. And it just so happens to be at that point in time, the SPY was holding support, right? But then everything else in the market follows accordingly as well. We had a massive day with the SPY from 403 to 408. We had a massive day with QQQ from around 292 up to 298. And it all comes down to that red line, that 200-day moving average. So if QQQ can stay above its 200 SMA and QQQ looks bullish and we're going to actually bounce on up here, right? The SPY may get a break over that 403.20 and start its way on up towards around 405. That's a possibility. But I'd like to see QQQ get a crack below that 200 SMA. Because if QQQ can open on up and we can crack below that red line, the 200 SMA, and really start to fade and fall and drop on off, that's going to really help the SPY stay below that resistance level to where we can take those put contracts down to 400. So right now, you got to put some focus and some emphasis here on the Qs at that red line. the 200 SMA, that's like your line in the sand. Whatever QQQ does at that red line, in my opinion, is how the SPY is going to move and where we see a lot of these stocks move today. And we're sitting right at it, right? We're sitting right at it as a support level. If we stay above that red line, we're looking bullish today, and we may need to readjust our analysis and our plan there on the SPY at that 403 level of resistance. But if the Qs open on up, we crack that red line and we look weak, that's going to really help validate our game plan with the SPY to allow us to execute on those put contracts at the start of the day, right? And if QQQ gets a crack and we start dropping below that 200 SMA, where could we see it come down to? Well, the best level of support here is going to be back down at this 288.52 level. So that means we could fall just about 3.5 points today. But are there any other levels in the meantime, right? Like, that's a pretty big drop. Like, yeah, we could see it come down towards around 290, right? That's going to be a light level of support right around 290 that we can hold on up. But the best level of support, the strongest level of support, is going to be back down at this 288.50. And that's going to be the best area to see the Qs fall down to before looking for a long position if and when that time comes, right? So put some focus here on QQQ at the 200 SMA. In my opinion, that's your line in the sand. That's really going to make, the make or break for the market today on where we could see the Qs go and the SPY go and some of these individual stocks that aren't reporting earnings this week here as well. Right. And like I said, I'd like to see the Qs crack that red line, fall below the 200 SMA. That's going to keep the SPY below our 403.20 level of resistance. I'll feel confident to play put contracts at the start of the day down to $400, guys. So that's my game plan with the SPY, really putting some focus here on QQQ. And now it's just a game of patience, right? Sit back, relax, and wait for the market to give you your trade and give you that high probability, fantastic, high quality setup. The one and done trades that we look for, we can crush it, lock in some profits, and probably already have our goals hit by 10 o'clock. And that's the goal here, guys. All right. What do we got with penny stocks today at this point in time, right? We have a lot of stocks ripping and running, a lot of stocks up over 50, 80, 100%, right? Take a look at GMVD. This stock went from a $3 close on Friday. This stock is all the way up at $6.50 at this point in time. GMVD is absolutely on fire, right? So why is this stock up over 100% at this point in time? Shares are trading higher amid the company being granted a patent. So they were granted a patent, and GMVD just absolutely blew on up. This is a hot stock. This is a stock that has a lot of focus in the market. One thing I want to point out, one thing I really want to bring to your attention before we really dive into this stock and break it down. Look at your daily time frame here on GMVD. What do you guys notice here on the daily time frame with GMVD? Is there anything you notice about the stock anytime it has a big day and it makes a move to the upside? What does it do, especially over the last few months? What have you noticed this stock is doing over the last couple of months? Every time it moves on up here with GMVD. Anybody see it? Hit me with it, baby. Come on. What do you got? What are you guys seeing with GMVD? What is it like to do? Mike inside of chat. Yes, Mike. It gives it back, right? Look at the daily chart here, right? We have a little bit of a gap up. The stock goes from $7 all the way to $12. It gives everything back, right? The stock here opens lower, squeezes all the way up to 830. Guess what? It gives everything back. Here, the stock goes from 3 all the way to 850, gives everything back. I know this stock has a press release. I know it's a good one. I know the stock's up over 100% at this point in time. It's gapping up. It looks great. We could absolutely play it long. But one thing we have to be mindful about is it likes to give everything back. Mike, congratulations. Good stuff. Good answer. I said congratulations, but yeah, congrats, man. That was a great answer. That was the right response. It gives everything back. So that's something we have to be mindful of, right? That the stock has potential to spike, has potential to spike, has potential to spike. We have potential to jump into the long side today and ride this up for a nice big time spike. But at some point in today, we may see it set up for a short. At some point today, we may want to be all out of our long position because historically, it likes to give everything back. I've located some shares to short, and I'm ready to short here on GMVD. If we ever see the stock really set up for that short to where we can start giving everything back at some point today, I am looking for a nice big time short here with GMVD if the chart says short me. So I do expect we get some action at the start of the day. I do expect we see the stock move higher. I do expect we break over these pre-market highs. I do think we have room to like $8.39 here with GMVD. I do think we get that nice big break over pre-market highs and we spike on up. And I'm looking to play that long up into the 840s. Any point in time, we start topping on out. At any point in time, we start to dump on off a little bit. Hey, I'm looking to start shorting this stock at the start of the day. All right. GMVD, number one stock to be watching. We have a slight trend line at this point in time that we want to hold on up. What's something else you notice about GMVD? It loves the VWAP. Pulls back to the VWAP, it bounces. Pulls back to the VWAP, it bounces. Pulling back to the VWAP, we could start to see a nice bounce here with GMVD. And it puts us right around our uptrend. So as long as we hold this trend line, stay above VWAP, we look pretty good. We look pretty bullish here with GMVD. And we would want to play this long back up to our pre-market highs of $6.80. We ever get a break over 680, which I think is very, very realistic, we can definitely squeeze up to about $8.39 here on GMVD. At any point in time, we start cracking that VWAP. At any point in time, we start cracking that trend line, we look pretty bearish. We can start cracking on off and dumping on off back down towards around 565, back down towards around 531, and then back down between 480 and $5 support here with GMVD. So this is the number one stock at this point in time. Everybody's focus should be on right at the start of the day. All right. GNS is the number two stock that everybody's focus should be on at the start of the day. This stock has a lot of great potential. GNS, right now I'm like 60-40 with it. Like I really like GMVD. I think GMVD has the best potential long and short today, right? I even think BBAI may have some potential today. GNS, it's not all that bad, right? The board approves a $37 million spinoff subsidiary, Entrepreneur Resorts LTD, to create shareholder value. So you got a $37 million spinoff subsidiary that was approved by their board. And this stock right now is currently up like 44%. It's a nice low float stock coming in at 10 million in float, trading really decent volume. I mean, you look at the volume, it's trading about 12 million shares. Yes, the average volume is 13, but we see some great consistency. This stock is on fire. This stock is really heating on up. And I do believe there's some opportunity here with GNS. All right. But we need to break $6.25, right? Because if we can't break that high at 625, I do believe we come cracking on back on down towards around $5 support. We ever start cracking below that $5 support level, I see GNS being able to fade and fall all the way back down towards around $4.15. So I really, really want to see the stock get that 625 break. If we can get that 625 break here with GNS, right, we have a big window of opportunity to the upside. Okay, where could we see GNS go if we start to break our 625 level? Look at that daily chart. You got a little gap here. Not an impressive gap, but it's a little gap. But what really stands out to me, prior resistance, 747. Prior resistance, 747, right? We broke above that level, how it held support there for a few days, right above 747, right? And then look at that, right around that gap level at 747. So yeah, if we get a break over 625 today, I see potential to around 747 to 750. And then look, we start breaking that level, that's when this thing could really start taking on off, as we have some room up towards around $8.75 and then 10. Am I saying it's going to get there? I'm not saying it's going to get there. But what I'm saying is the probabilities greatly increase in the favor to the long side if we start trading above 625. If we get a break and we retest 625 and we see it established and it turns into support right at 625, right? The probabilities start to increase that we could see the stock rip up towards around that 747 to 750 level, up towards around $8.75, that psychological level that we talked about on Friday, and then up towards around $10. But if we cannot get a break over that 625 and we start to crack this trend line, you could absolutely look to trade GNS to the short side, guys. All right. So GNS at this point in time, number 2 to be watching right at the start of the day. And then BBAI. I think BBAI could get some action here. I do, right? It's definitely a back burner sleeper play at this point in time. Okay. It's definitely a back burner sleeper here. BBAI at this point in time. All right. They had a press release on the 25th of January. So that was last Tuesday, I think, or last Wednesday. That was last Wednesday. They have a press release, but the press release was really, really good that the U.S. Navy wants to build the world's first fully anonymous fleet. And Big Bear AI is actually going to help them turn that idea into reality. Now, diving into that article a little bit more, there could be a potential partnership or some kind of contract in the future with BBAI and the Navy, right? In the military. And anytime we see like military contracts and government contracts with these companies, that could really bring in some big time volume, some attention, and we could see some big time movement. And that's definitely potential. There's definitely that reality that at some point in the future, there's some kind of contract awarded to BBAI for this to actually become reality with building the U.S. Navy's first fully anonymous fleet. And so BBAI, I think, may have some more potential today off that press release, really dissecting that article. And so I want to watch BBAI above Friday's high a day, right? If we could see BBAI hold above Friday's high a day of 288, and we see some buyers present here, I do think we get a nice little bounce. I do think we could start to have a nice big move to the upside. Okay, so back burner sleeper, right? It's a back burner trade, right? It's not something we're watching right at the start of the day like GNS or GMVD, but it's definitely on watch. It's worth getting prepared with. It's worth doing your due diligence. And if we can stay above 288 and we see some good volume and we see some good price action there, it may be worth giving this a trade right around $2.88. And if we see that bounce at 288 and we stay above that level, where can we see BBAI go up to? I would say back up to the 200-day moving average, that red line, at $3.24. And if we ever get a break again over that 200 SMA, back up towards around $3.83. That was the high a day from January 12th. You guys love back burner sleeper plays. I love back burner sleeper plays, right? And so I definitely want to keep this back burner sleeper on high watch. BBAI above 288. We have great potential to bounce and spike to 324. And then we start to break that 324 level. That's your 200 SMA. We have great potential to spike up to $3.83. So definitely want to keep this stock on watch, right? GNS number 1, GMVD number 2. And look at GMVD. We're already starting to crack on down, guys. We may have a short position right at the start of the day. So we're going to keep GMVD on high watch here at the start. GNS on high watch as well. BBAI as a nice back burner sleeper play for today. Right, Lucid will be on watch, but there's not a lot to discuss right now. But I want to let you guys know that I will be periodically looking at Lucid and seeing how Lucid moves today and see if there's any opportunity to get some great trades in on the stock like you guys were able to do so here on Friday. And then we will be watching SOFI as well. All right, but to start our day, we have 15 seconds to go. Scanners are now live. We know exactly where the best opportunity is at the start here in the next 8 seconds. GMVD number 1, GNS number 2. Let's have some fun. Let's rock and roll. Let's lock in some amazing profits and let's crush it, traders. P&L is up on the live stream at this point in time. If you guys see me getting involved in a trade, you'll see it. If I get involved, you'll see it. I'll call it out. I'll let you guys know what we got going on. But I'm looking for that possible short here on GMVD here at the start of the day. Like I'm looking to see if I can get a short position at the start of the day with GMVD. GMVD. Okay, if we start cracking below like 566, we could have a nice little short down towards around 531, then down towards around 480. But like I said, GMVD likes to spike, right? GMVD likes to spike on up, and then it likes to top on out. Then it likes to give everything back. So I'd like to see a spike on up into some key levels of resistance, then get the short. But today we could just go straight down. We could be gapping up and just dump. And if we start the crack on down, I want to be in the shorts here with GMVD. The stock has a lot of great potential. All right. So the market's open. We're all set. We're going to have some fun. We're going to make it happen. And we're going to lock in some amazing profits here. GNS above the trend line, you are bullish. So if GNS holds above your trend line, ladies and gentlemen, you could take this long to 625 with stops under VWAP. Looking for a possible bounce down towards around 12 on Lucid today. LCID, possible little bounce down towards around like 12 bucks. SoFi just put in a new high a day, SOFI, new high a day. This stock does have some room to like 770. SOFI does have some room towards around $7.70 here. Right now, I'm not in anything. As you guys can see, I'm not in anything at this point in time, right? Just watching GNS here above this trend line for a break of the downtrend team, right? If we start breaking this downtrend on GNS after you just bounced off your uptrend, you can spike back up to 6, that pre-market high of 611, and then your main targets of $6.25. I'm not in GNS at this point in time. I'm honestly waiting for GMVD. I'm honestly waiting for the short position with GMVD. I think this is the best trade for the day. That short, I do believe this thing could really dump on off, and I want to sit back and wait and be positioned for the best trade here with GMVD to the short side if and when we get it. So right now, nothing open at this point in time. I have no position open at this point in time, right? Still watching SoFi. I mean, I'm a long-term investor in SoFi, so I'm really liking, what we're seeing with SOFI at this point in time. The stock is doing absolutely amazing. And here's the cool thing. I just added a little bit more to this last week. I was going through cherry picking. I added just a little bit more to this last week. Starting to feel great about this position that we have here with SOFI for the long term. And I will continue to add to this position for a very long time. GNS cracking the trend line, GMVD here right around 650 resistance. Right now, team, I'm not seeing too much at this point in time. I don't see anything, and that's why I'm not in anything right now at this point in time. Let's go check out the SPY. Let's see what the SPY is doing at that resistance level. We had that resistance level right around 403.20, but like I said, could be up towards around Friday's low of day and Friday's close right around like that 403.60. So Friday's low of day was right around 403.44, and we did have that bounce level from Friday right around 403.60. So let's continue to watch the SPY here. Below that 403.60 level. And again, it really comes down to the Qs, in my opinion. Can the Qs get a crack of the 200 SMA? Can QQQ fall below the 200 SMA? If so, I do believe, right, the SPY can definitely top out here at 403.60 and start to drop on off. So I may be looking for a trade here on the SPY at this point in time, right? Risking over high a day. Let's see if we can get a quick little entry here on the SPY. Going tomorrow's expiration on some put contracts. I am not in at this point in time, but I have an order typed up, ready to go. Order typed up, ready to go. If we see the Qs really getting a crack at the 200 SMA, we know the Qs can really start to drop on off. We know SPY just came up to our resistance level. And as long as we stay below that resistance level, we want to play puts down to 400, right? That's the game plan. That's what we're looking to do today here with the SPY. So again, really depends on what QQQ does here in the next few moments, right at the 200 SMA. But I'm ready to pull the trigger on some put contracts here on the SPY. So right now, let it bounce back up maybe one more time, a little bit of a bounce back up. All right, QQQ, I expect to see a bounce at the 200-day moving average, right? So why would the SPY bounce? Because the Qs are bouncing, right? We just came down right around the 200 SMA. We're seeing the Qs get a little bit of a bounce. Let it bounce, and then let it start to roll on over and crack. And that's when we look to grab our short position here with the SPY. Okay, I'll be looking to take a tomorrow expiration contract. So we'll go one day out right here. And we're looking about a 401 contract, about a 401. Got a nice little 33 delta. We can manage that risk nicely. Let's go ahead and send that off to the green. And we can look at the options chart as we're looking to take the trade on the SPY, right? If we're looking to take a trade on the SPY here, and we don't want to see it break high a day, where does that put a stop loss here on the contract itself? Down around like 105, right? So our stop would be right around like 105 on those put contracts. But I want to see it bounce back up just a little bit more because I expect to see QQQ bounce. And I expect to see the SPY bounce with the Qs. I'll be looking at the 401 put contracts that expire tomorrow. You know, that's what I trade closest to expiration. And I usually go about a 30 delta. And right now, just looking to see if we can get an entry here over on the SPY. Okay, not in yet, though, guys. Not in right now at this point in time. But I'm waiting and I'm watching. I am waiting and I'm watching for those possible puts here on the SPY. Let's go ahead and get this broker out of the way. I'm not in there. Let's go ahead and load up, pop out my Fidelity account so you guys can see that. If I'm looking to get into a trade, you guys will see my order pop up here. Again, I am not in an options position at this point in time. I have no trades right now at this point in time. As soon as I do, you will see it. Fully transparent with you guys. Nothing yet. Right? Why did I not take the SPY here to the short side? Because again, I know the Qs are most likely going to bounce at their 200 SMA, right? Come right on down to the 200 SMA and bounce. Yeah, it's just common sense. If you know anything about the 200 SMA and you know exactly how traders utilize the 200 SMA, you know that we're going to get a bit of a reaction there, right? And this is what we teach you guys inside of the community. So why are we not taking the trade here on those SPY puts, right? Because we know that the Qs are most likely going to bounce. And we know that if the Q bounces, what's the SPY going to do? SPY's going to bounce too. So that's why we're holding off. We're watching the Qs, looking for a good short opportunity on QQQ. That's going to help pull the SPY down along with it. And then we have a nice little short position here with the SPY guys. But no trades right now at this point in time, sitting back on those hands, waiting to get a little bit more sense of direction here with the QQQ. And that's going to help us get involved into the SPY trade. Okay, can we get a short on GMVD at some point today? GMVD live out of the halt. GMVD is live out of this halt, guys. You got a halt strategy here with GMVD. You do have a halt strategy here with GMVD at this point in time, right? Nice gap up out of the halt, comes back down into the halt level. And GMVD right now starting to get a little bit of action here to the upside. I want to go back over to the SPY here. Here we go. Getting ready to get those put contracts on the SPY, guys. Looking to get those put contracts here on the SPY. Got to start a position here with maybe like 10 of these contracts. Start a position with about 10 of these contracts. We're starting to definitely get some heat to the downside. God dang it. I hate Fidelity. I'm sorry, guys. I literally just go to pull the trigger on those contracts, and Fidelity goes, trade error. Trade error. Like, what? What do you mean freaking trade error? Dude, that has got to be the most frustrating thing when that happens. It happens every day with Fidelity. I'm getting ready to transition over to an E-Trade account. We're going to start our small account challenge, just so you guys know. Getting ready to make a transfer, open up an E-Trade account. We're going to go small account with E-Trade. I hear they're pretty good. But let me shut down Fidelity. let me shut down Fidelity. All right, let me load it on back up real quick and see if we can still get that short that I want to be in right now. As we had a false breakout over 403.65, and I'm looking for the crack of the trend line. I'm looking for the drop, and I want to be in this short at this point in time. I want to be in this short right now here on those SPY puts. So again, that's just a frustrating thing because that happens like almost every single day of Fidelity. I just loaded the thing up at 8 o'clock. There's no reason for there to be a trade error, but there's always a trade error. So let's see. Everything happens for a reason. I take this as the universe giving me a sign that maybe I shouldn't be in those puts, or maybe the universe is saying, Josh, you're just not going to take your killer trade today. One of the two. All right, here we go. Loading it back up. Loading it back up. Maybe we have an opportunity to get in. I'm taking the 401 puts. I just don't want to be like, I feel like I'm getting in late. You know what I mean? And the longer this takes, the later I am to the trade. Let's see if we can get this loaded back on up. Here we go. Cool, cool, cool. We're going back into the 1 day out. 401 puts. Right now they're worth about 112 each. Yeah, I'm like 10 cents late, right? I was trying to pull the trigger when they were down around 105 a piece right here. And I'm late by like 15 cents on 30 contracts, guys. That's huge. That's huge, right? Like I'm already like $500 late to the trade on 30 contracts. That's a tough one, guys. That's a tough one. Like I want to be in these puts, but I'm gonna have to wait for the next trade. I'm gonna have to wait for the next best trade. Like the trade was right through that false break, right? And we can see during that false break, those contracts were worth 105. Those contracts have already moved up towards around 120. They're already up 10 to 15 cents a contract. On 10 contracts, that's $150. On 30 contracts, that's $450. I cannot chase this. So I just got to sit back and relax now, and maybe there's a reason to not be in those. And I'm glad I'm not in them because, again, I felt like I would be chasing those. But let's sit back and relax now. Let's see what we have. I did install the 64-bit. Yeah, Steve, I did install the 64-bit. All right, reset. Let's clear that out. Back to the 401s. We want to take the 401s right here. We're going to buy to open. We're going to go market. Boom. All right, we're all set just in case. We're all set. Again, I scalped the market, guys. That would have been a quick little scalp, and then the runner would have got hit, right? You get in, you take profits quick. That would have been a quick profitable trade there, and then that runner would have got clipped. So in hindsight, would it have been profitable? It would have been a quick little profitable trade for those puts, right? Up about 10 to 15 cents a contract. Taking profits when I'm up about 10 to 15 cents per contract, and the runner would have got definitely clipped right there. And this is why if you feel like you're late to the trade, great example. If you feel like you're late to your trade, you don't chase it, right? I'm like, guys, if I get in here, I feel like I'm chasing it. I should have been here when the contracts are at 105. They're now up towards around 118. I'm already too late to the trade. If I would have got in there, I would have literally bought the top on those contracts and got smacked to the downside. This is why you do not chase. If you feel like you're too late to the trade, guess what? You are too late to the trade. All right, so I'm going to let the SPY continue to do its thing here. At this point in time, it definitely looked like it wanted to drop on down. I was definitely willing to take those puts, but guess what? Right? SPY's starting to move up a little bit more at this point in time. So sit back, relax, and wait for the next best trade. All right. Again, at that point in time, I was late, right? Felt like I was definitely late, never pulled the trigger. And I'm glad I didn't pull the trigger, guys. So right now, we're going to let the SPY kind of do its thing here. GNS cracked that trend line, looking a little weak at this point in time. GMVD was halted again to the downside. This stock was halted at... What time was GMVD halted? GMVD, I don't have a halt time here. It's going to be a 10-minute halt, though, at this point in time here on GMVD. It is going to be a 10-minute halt. So we'll have to see when this thing's going to be going live. And it looks like CVNA currently halted as well. And CVNA Carvana currently halted to the upside at this point in time. This morning at 9:30, you did have $10 call sweeps near the ask. You had 256 of these calls at $1 a piece, right? So nothing crazy, but you did have a February 17th $10 call sweep here on Carvana right at 9:34 this morning. So we'll definitely be watching CVNA at this point in time here with CVNA.